Hello again, football fans. Welcome to week 7 of the high school football season. We're moving right along. We got the Mid-Eastern Conference off this week before they start their conference play. We got a bunch more conference to play. But Dan, what's up with the weather?
Well, if you can't figure it out, it's raining. About 850 inches of freaking rain. This is amazing, people. Chuck Carey actually started calling some coaches today for us. He's put a blog post up at our blog at starnewsvarsity.com. People are debating whether or not to play at this point, but it is Wednesday afternoon as we're taping this show. So right now everything's on. The rain is supposed to go away by tomorrow afternoon. Hopefully everything will dry out and the sand does its job, and we got a whole bunch of football on Friday.
Absolutely, and a bunch of those games we're going to try to get to are in the WACCAMAW Conference. So real quick, let's take a look at the WACCAMAW and where it stands right now. Now that 6 of the 7 teams in the WACCAMAW Conference has at least one conference game under their belt, things are going to start clearing up for this top-heavy conference. The conference as a whole boasts a 26-11 record, which is second best of any conference in the area to the Tri-County. With 3 undefeated teams, they're the only conference in Southeast North Carolina to boast that mark. The region's top 2 scoring offenses also reside in the WACCAMAW, with South Brunswick scoring 240 points and East Bladen scoring 229 to this point of the season. And the WACCAMAW also features the top defense in the area, with South Columbus having only given up 27 points as they are out to a 4-0 start. The top-heavy portion of the conference will start clearing itself up next week on October 8th when South Columbus visits South Brunswick. However, the top half of the conference figures to be competitive all the way up to the last week of the season when North Brunswick will visit East Bladen.
Like you said, the WACCAMAW is going to be tough this year for the top-heavy schools. It's going to be a dogfight right down to the end. As you can see, we're at Aaron's very favorite part of the show right now, folks. It's the prop box, and now he's got the stinking lead, and you pick him. I don't know how. Well, basically because Union pulled off the big upset last week.
I was the lone wolf to go with Union last week.
I can't believe you did that. That was, oh, that's frustrating. Tigers, you got to help me out here. Come on now. But anyway, we're going to go on to this week. Again, 8 games on the picks. Go to starnewsvarsity.com, go to the blog, pick the games yourself. You can compare your picks against ours. 3 games that we won't be picking on the show, but you can see who we pick on the website. That's Midway at Lakewood, East Bladen at Whiteville, and Jacksonville Northside at East Duplin. That'll probably decide the East Central Conference title. But 5 games for us, from us to you. We'll start in the WACCAMAW. North Brunswick at West Brunswick. County rivalry. Huge implications in the league already.
Yeah, absolutely. In North Brunswick, like we said, their offense has been on fire. They're averaging better than 33 points per game, which is huge. For West Brunswick, they've only put up more than 2 touchdowns twice all year. They're 2-4 on the year. They're 1-1 in games in which they do score those. North Brunswick has been able to win the high-scoring track meets pretty much all year long. And if you shut down Quan Bates and West Brunswick, you're going to win. I think North does that again this week. They'll go to 6-1.
I think if they can play a little defense, and we've said this all year about North, if they can play even a little bit of defense, they win this game.
Absolutely.
It'll be interesting to see, though, if the conditions slow down that offense at all this week.
Yes,
with all this rain, they run. Who knows? Round 2. This is a non-conference game involving another WACCAMAW heavyweight. This is South Columbus, undefeated, against West Columbus. Hasn't won a game, but it's out in Cerro Gordo, and West always plays good at home.
Right, absolutely. And the one thing to take from this, with the rain, teams are going to run, the score's going to be slow. You're looking to expect some slot ball, kind of. South Columbus has the best defense in the area. They've given up just 27 points all season long through their 4-0 start. That's by far the best in the area. It's hard to go against good defense on sloppy fields. I'm going South Columbus.
I think you're right on that one, even though I think West will make that game closer than the predictions say it's going to be. Jump over to the East Central. Topsail gets Clinton at home. Topsail coming off a win on the road at Swansboro last week.
Absolutely, and I think that's really the big thing, is that Topsail, their offense was really stuck in neutral, basically. They had scored 27 points through their previous 3 games going into last week. We kind of had an idea that they would break out last week against Swansboro. Sure enough, they did. They put up 35 points last week, and I expect that offense to keep rolling, and I'm going to go with Topsail on that one.
I think so too. Like I said, Clinton struggled. They've played well against tough teams, but they haven't found a win. I don't think they'll get one this week either. Big game in the Tri-County Conference. Defending state champion Wallace Rose Hill goes to Hobson. Hobson was ranked in the state poll until last week when Pender sent them right back out the door. What you got?
Well, I mean, it's quite simple. Like we said, the rain, you got to like the running game. Omar Carr's easily the best running back around.
Yeah.
He's unbelievable, impossible to stop, and for that reason alone, I got to like Wallace Rose Hill.
Oh, yeah, I think so too. Omar Carr, I don't know if he's got a four-wheel drive in the mud and everything, but I don't think it's going to matter.
Right.
That's going to be a good one. Last game, another Tri-County game, and this one's got some really interesting repercussions to it. James Keenan off that surprising loss to Union last week at Pender, ranked number 2 in the state. Tigers, if they lose this one, they're really, really behind the 8 ball in that league.
And you got to think they're going to come out playing with a lot of fire after that loss. They blew a 2-touchdown lead in the 4th quarter. You never like to see that. That's really got to get your locker room just buzzing. You want to come out and play. But Pender, you know, we talked about South Columbus only giving up 27 points. Pender's only given up 30 points. They're knocking right on that door defensively. You know, they have the ability to really control the pace of a game. They can slow a game down to their style just about as well as anybody in the area. And for that reason, I'm going to take Pender to win that one.
Yep. Like I said, it's one of those, if Pender can avoid a slow start, which is what they're notorious for,
right,
boy, they seem to close really, really well. That's it for the prop box. Aaron's going to run down the schedule for you here for the rest of the area.
All right, like we were talking about in the WACCAMAW Conference, we got East Bladen and Whiteville. East Bladen undefeated on the year. Whiteville looking to gain some traction right there in the conference. North Brunswick 5-1 against West Brunswick, 2-4. Big game there for North if they can keep rolling to keep pace with the big guys. South Brunswick also looking to stay unbeaten at West Bladen. In a non-conference coming out of the WACCAMAW, South Columbus, we talked about a little bit. They're at West Columbus, a winless team there. Game's going to be a little tougher than it says on paper. Over to the East Central, Jacksonville Northside at East Duplin. That's one of our picks on the website. Clinton, a 1-4 team at 2-3 Topsail, who's really starting to get going. In the Tri-County, we just talked about James Keenan. They're at Pender. Union 4-1 at Trask 3-2. Dan, a little bit about that one.
If Taquan Hansley plays, Trask has a shot. If Taquan Hansley can't go, and he had to get pulled out early last week against Lakewood, Trask has no chance. He runs everything for that team.
And from what I'm hearing, that ankle's getting worse and worse. It's looking bad for Trask. We'll see if they can hang in. Wallace Rose Hill, like we talked about, undefeated still at Hopton, and Midway at Lakewood. That will be a very big battle there. So like we just went over, a lot of good games, a lot of big games, conference games this week. Dan, give me your one big thing for this week.
I think the one big thing this week is West Brunswick. I mean, this is really put up or shut up time for them. That's a very talented team that has had some bad things happen, has played some very good teams. If they don't win this week, you know, who knows? They've still got to play a whole bunch of tough teams, like we said, in the WACCAMAW over the next 5 weeks.
Absolutely. Well, that's it for us this week for a preview show. Be sure to come back on Friday for Friday Night Varsity Flashback. Always make sure you tune in to starnewsvarsity.com for all your prep needs. Be sure to stay up to date with the blog. We're going to keep updating it as best we can.
Stay dry, folks. Stay dry.
A lot of resources. Check it out.